can see, Abdul El-Sayed has about a 1% lead over Congresswoman Haley Stevens. El-Sayed is considered the more progressive of the candidates. Haley Stevens, the establishment candidate. But in just the last few minutes, it went from 96% reporting to 99% reporting, which is close to almost all the vote. The margin, Abdul El-Sayed's margin changed by 5 votes. It was 14,898, and now it's 14,893. So yes, Haley Stevens made up 5 votes, but he still, El-Sayed, has a vote lead of nearly 15,000. Hang on 1 second here. I am told we do have a projection in this race. Just say in my ear. CNN can now project that Abdul El-Sayed has won the Michigan Democratic primary for Senate. You can see the results right there on your screen. It has been close all night long. Haley Stevens was chipping away at El-Sayed's lead, but now his vote lead of nearly 15,000 votes, we think that is enough so that he is the winner of this primary. As I said, this has been a very closely watched race, highly contested, seen as a clash between two wings of the Democratic Party, the progressive wing represented by Abdul El-Sayed and the more establishment wing represented by Haley Stevens. She had the support of Chuck Schumer, Michigan's Governor Gretchen Whitmer, yet it was not enough for her to overcome this progressive challenge. A lot closer than perhaps a lot of people thought, but ultimately El-Sayed is the winner here. We do project, and just to give you a sense of how this went all night long into the morning, into just now, when the votes started coming in just after 8 o'clock, El-Sayed had a big lead, over 60%. He is the light blue line, Stevens is the dark blue line, but then it got closer and closer and closer. It was too close to call, but now we do project this will hold, and El-Sayed will be the winner, albeit by a very, very small amount. Again, one other thing to watch here as we look at this race and in terms of what it means for the primaries going forward and the general election, El-Sayed did very well in educated counties, Washington counties, where Ann Arbor is. He ran up the score there, but in more working class counties like Wayne County, where Detroit and Dearborn are, Haley Stevens won. That is an area where he will have to make up ground if he wants to beat the Republican Mike Rogers in the general election in this key swing state. This is a state Republicans would want to flip, and Democrats absolutely need to hold on to if they have any hope of taking the Senate in November. Again, CNN now projects that Abdul El-Sayed will be the winner of the Michigan Democratic primary, a much closer race than expected, but a significant result. That is all for CNN News Central. Sarah Seiner, Kate Baldwin, they say goodbye as well. Now it's time for the situation.
This is CNN Breaking News.
And welcome to our viewers here in the United States and around the world. I'm Wolf Blitzer with Pamela Brown, and you're in the Situation Room. Happening now, major breaking news. The results are now in. CNN cannot project that progressive Abdul El-Sayed has clinched Michigan's Democratic Senate primary, defeating Congresswoman Haley Stevens in what was a very bitter and contentious race. El-Sayed will advance to the midterm elections and take on Republican former Congressman Mike Rogers. That's coming up in November. Voters in 5 states punched ballots yesterday in several key primary races across the country. We're also keeping a very close eye on races in Missouri, Kansas, Virginia, and Washington State. Let's begin this hour, though, with the major breaking news coming out of Michigan right now. CNN anchor John Berman is at the Magic Wall. John, walk us through the latest numbers, because now CNN has made its projection.
Yeah, CNN projects that Abdul El-Sayed, seen as the progressive candidate, will be the Democratic nominee for Senate in Michigan, but man, it was close. Less than 1 percentage point separates him from Congresswoman Haley Stevens. The vote difference right now, less than 15,000 votes separate these two candidates. It was very close, and if we just look back over the course of the night until this moment, Abdul El-Sayed led when the polls first closed substantially. He's the light blue line. Haley Stevens is the dark blue line. But as the night went on into the morning, it got closer and closer until these lines were almost touching. But right now, we are projecting that they are wide enough apart that Abdul El-Sayed will be the winner there. As we look at this race and maybe look for signs about what it might mean in terms of strengths and weaknesses for El-Sayed as he heads to the general election against Mike Rogers in November, he did very, very well in the more educated counties. Washington County is where Ann Arbor is, University of Michigan, Wolverines. You can see he ran up the score there by more than 24 points. But right next door in Wayne County, which is the most populous county in the state, about 18% of the vote, it is where Detroit is, also where Dearborn is. Haley Stevens actually won. Wayne County, it has working class voters. It also has a large African American population. If Abdul El-Sayed wants to do well, wants to win in November, he is going to have to make up ground in Wayne County with some